Hi, Joy Horner here, and I'd like to talk a little bit about antenatal expression of breast milk. And I've been prompted to do this because a client who was heavily pregnant, who booked very late in her pregnancy, told me she'd been up all night crying her eyes out because she could not squeeze any milk out of her breasts antenatally. A midwife had told her this was a good thing to do in case her baby needed a bit of help after birth and couldn't feed, which is a really, really good idea, but also needs to come with the disclaimer that not everyone finds it easy to get milk out of their breasts antenatally. And that's not the point. The point isn't to get a full syringe full of milk out of your breasts antenatally. The point is to get familiar with the expression technique so that if your baby needs help afterwards, you already know how to express milk. One of the really big reasons why it doesn't happen to everyone antenatally is that it's all under hormonal control. And the biggest hormone production unit is still in situ in pregnancy, and that's the placenta. So once the placenta comes away, a hormonal signal goes to the brain to let it know that it then can start the sequence to initiate milk letdown and milk production. So when you're pregnant and still have the placenta inside you, you aren't meant to be producing lots of milk. Some people naturally see it. Some people see a bead or two of colostrum at the end of their nipple. Um, yeah, it's there and it can be produced. People that go into premature labor, that they produce milk after birth. But we shouldn't be telling people that everyone has to collect milk for their baby antenatally in case it has a problem. The other part of this is that most babies will not have a problem breastfeeding after birth. And with the right support, you shouldn't need to do any of this. Occasionally, a baby's ill or premature, um, yeah, or has a condition which means breastfeeding is more challenging. But yeah, that's not most people and most babies. So I'd like you to know that your breasts will produce milk once you've had your baby. So we'll just talk a little bit about midwives, what midwives are suggesting. So sometimes they even go as far as leaving a little syringe with you. And this is a breast milk collection syringe. Um, and I will just show it to you. So it comes in a sealed packet. And these come with a warning now because they have a tip on them, which is removable. And this tip is a danger to older children who may put it in their mouths and might inhale it um, because it's just the right size to get inhaled. So be really, really careful what you do with the tip. So put it somewhere safe. I'm going to pop mine back in the bag because it's a safe place to put it. And I've then got a syringe. And what I'd suggest is you just get a feel for the syringe, how you would actually draw it back to collect the milk. And then practice doing it one-handed, which means pushing up on this bit because you'll be holding your breast with the other hand. Now you're going to have to imagine that this is my nipple. It's an old nipple shield. And I'm just going to show you for ease. Okay, so let's say my nipple's there. And I'll just put my syringe down for a second. So I'm going to prepare to collect some milk. I'm going to just give my breast a little bit of a massage, a little bit of a rub, just let it know something's going to happen. I'm then going to place my hand in a C shape, my fingers, just back from the nipple. And you can feel yourself, you know what nipple tissue feels like. And you feel back from the nipple to where the milk ducts are. So you're not actually squeezing on the nipple itself. Sometimes it helps to push back against your rib cage before squeezing. Um, some people just find it easy just to squeeze. Right, so I'll show you what this looks like with the syringe. Actually, I'm going to do it with this hand because I'm right-handed. So I've massaged my breast. I've got my breast ready. I've got my fingers in the right place here, and I can just squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. And if nothing's coming, I can move my hand position around. Let's do it underneath. So I can squeeze, squeeze, and you may see just the tiniest drop gathering on the end of the nipple. And what you do, you get your syringe and you just collect that drop. I'm steadying it on my hand so it's not waving all over the place. It's a really hard thing to do. Pushing up to collect any milk. Okay. So I've now got a tiniest bit of milk in my syringe, mostly air. I'm going to push it up so it's collected that tiny drop or two. Let's say I've got 0.1 of a mil, tiny amount, that much. And that's great. Your breasts are producing a little bit of colostrum and you know how to get it out. Win-win. Now, if you produced that or if you produced that, you've got like half a syringe full or a whole syringe full. You then pop the cap back on it and you put it somewhere safe. So if your baby's been born, you might just pop it in your fridge or pop it on the side because your baby's going to wake up soon and you can give it a little bit. If not, you can label it. So I'd write on the paper the date and the time and pop that in a sealed bag in your freezer. So most people don't produce that much in pregnancy. Most people are lucky if they get 0.1 or 0.2 of a mil. The whole point isn't to collect loads of milk. If that happens, great. If you've had a baby before, that's more likely to happen, especially if you've breastfed. But if it's your first baby and you get 1 or 2 drops out, great. You have learned the technique, which might be useful after birth. And yeah, that's it for today. Okay, bye.